Today we'll be featuring Mary Elizabeth Jackson. She is the award-winning author of the children's book series called Poohlicious. Mary writes books that helps parents empower their children by teaching them words and phrases that show them how amazing they are and how wonderfully made they are. It empowers children to face the world with confidence, knowing that being different is absolutely okay and that they are special. Don't go away, we'll be right back. If you're just joining us, welcome to Books with Brigetti. I'm your host, Brigetti Limbanda from Cape Town in South Africa, and the stream is made possible by StreamYard and Be Live Media. We are monitoring the comments, so if you want to ask the author anything, please feel free to do so. Any questions for the author about the books? I am monitoring the comments. Just know that that will not be, it will be seen. So today we're talking to Mary Elizabeth Jackson about the Poohlicious series of books and CDs, all available on Amazon, that helps to build confidence in children. So if you would like your little ones to have more confidence or to face the world more confidently, then today's show is definitely for you. Mary Elizabeth Jackson is the award-winning author of the children's book series called Poohlicious. She writes books that helps parents to empower their children with intention by teaching them words and phrases that teach them how amazing and wonderfully made they are. It empowers children to face the world with confidence, knowing that being different is okay and that they are special. Mary is also a special needs advocate. And so with that, I'm going to invite Mary to join me on the stream. Mary, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. Great intro. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's very upbeat, great music.
Thanks very much. So I want to talk about, the books that you've written are amazing for parents who's got little people at home, and I think not even just parents. Most of us who are not parents are uncles or aunts or sisters with little ones. For anybody really who's got little people in their lives, and most of us have got little people in our lives, and so
Right.
this series is fantastic. Talk a little bit about why you wanted to write the Poohlicious series of books, and then we'll talk a bit about the CDs that you've got that goes with the books.
Yeah. So the series started out. It was originally written, inspired by my little guy who came late in life, who I didn't, didn't know how he was going to turn out. And so I was so grateful for how he and I both were able to make it through the birth and afterwards, and recovery and things like that. I just felt like, however our babies come into the world, I was already an advocate for one of my other children when he was born. But after the birth of him and the struggles that we went through with him and all the things that he's been through really made me want to share that it is so important for us to teach our children that however they come into this world, they're okay. And that for as adults, I mean, most of us, when we look at a baby, even if there is an outwardly visual thing that you can see that there may be an issue, we still think that child is beautiful, don't we? That's kind of just,
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's
So
a given.
it is a given. And so this is about embracing that, because really we all come into this world in our own way. And sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes there's more challenges than there might be with another person, but we're still okay. We're going to get through this. And we have to accept ourselves. We have to accept our children. I know, years and years, I mean, hundreds of years ago, even closer than hundreds of years ago, when a child had a defect, and I call it, I'm saying that lightly, when there was an issue with a child, when they were born with a challenge or a disability, a lot of these children were hidden, and
I know. That was a terrible time.
it's just terrible. And in there are cultures today that still do this. And, you think about, what does that do to a human being when you tell them they're not okay? I mean, that scars a person for their entire life. So do you really want to be responsible for that? Or do you want to be responsible for teaching a child how to accept who they are and find their strengths? Like, in Finding Dory, I mean, look at Nemo, right? He had his little fin that wasn't perfect, but he could still swim, and he did great things in his life. That's part of one of the stories behind the story, the lessons. And so I think that kids today, we know, are up against so much, way more than we were as
Oh,
children.
absolutely. They're exposed to so much more. I think we grew
Yes.
up sort of very protected, and now kids are exposed, and you sometimes wonder, are they overexposed, overstimulated? How is that affecting them?
Right, absolutely. But what I see is that if we can give kids the right language from the beginning, it's going to help them be more resilient and be able to get through things in their life than if they don't have those words. Because even on a bad day, you can talk to yourself. You can, gear yourself up. You can empower yourself with words, even if you're having a bad day, even if somebody's been mean to you or ugly to you or hateful to you. You can still get yourself out of that place and find what your truth is, not what somebody else's truth is about you. What is your truth about yourself? And the cool thing about words is they're free, right? So they're always with us. And I know I use them for myself. I use them with my kids. I've taught my kids, and I see a difference in them knowing that, they can get down. Everybody gets down, right? And for kids, things always tend to feel 100 times bigger than what they really are a lot of times. Not all times, but a lot of times it does. But if we can teach them how to process through that and come back down to ground zero, think about the generation that we'll have out there coming up, as opposed to kids that have been mistreated and, friends are ugly, and, everybody has to grow up, and they have to be out in the world, and they have to be with other adults, and they have to treat people right. And you learn all of that at home. It begins at home, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The language that you use will have an effect on kids for life. So if you teach them that they're less than when they're little, they're always going to feel that they're less than as an adult. So I
Right.
think what you've done in the books is just phenomenal.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's very true that, like, what happens in our early childhood stays with us forever. I mean, pretty much forever. It's kind of ingrained in there, and so it's very important. I mean, they talk about these years and how important they are, and the stage that you set for a child, it stays with them forever. And you think about it, as adults, don't we kind of come at things in our life, kind of run around and make our decisions based on things that happened to us in our childhood, our middle school years, our high school years, even, all those things that happen, those awkward times, the person who was, I can still remember things that happened when I was a kid in middle school, elementary, and high school, and you have to then, kind of undo that for yourself. What is your truth about yourself instead of those beliefs that you pick up? And we pick up beliefs from our parents. Children are so, oh my gosh, they're so smart. They're just so brilliant, the things that they pick up. So, and for me, even teaching my sons, his sisters, how to treat him, because he's going to learn how to treat other people from his relationships with them. So all of this really does start at home. So we have to, we have to take responsibility for that and decide what kind of parent do we want to be, or caregiver, or grandparent, or aunt, or uncle. What kind of impression do we want to leave on children? Because it no longer is, don't do as I do, you do as I tell you to. That's not really ever been a truth. People wanted to make it a truth, but it really is not. So, we have to be careful. And so we want, I think it's important for us to help this next generation coming up, because we have no idea what's ahead for them after this last year. We really don't. So let's empower them to be resilient and to talk themselves into doing. All of us have seen incredible people with unbelievable challenges, overcoming them and doing brilliant things in their life. So it's doable for anybody.
Many famous people out there, people wrote them off as being stupid. In some cases, even their parents thought they were stupid and would amount to nothing. And they went on to become the most well-known, famous people.
But they also had somebody there who taught them how to believe in themselves. They had somebody, even if it was one person, a teacher, a neighbor, a grandmother, somebody who believed in them and taught them how to believe in themselves.
Have you got any of the books close by that you can show, and maybe just read one or two passages that you think people would appreciate?
So this is the first one. And this one I wrote when my little guy was about 5 or 6 months old. And then my writing partner, Thornton Klein, who we love, don't we? He wrote the 10 songs that are in the back. They're original songs. And my daughters actually went into the studio and recorded them. So I love the music. It's very calming. It's they're 10, 20 to 30-second little songs, and they're very calming. So they're great for nap time. If you need a child to calm down, for reading time, they're absolutely wonderful and very easy to learn. So I think that this is one of my favorite pictures in here.
Hold on a second. I just want to make you. There we go.
Yeah. So that's one of my favorite pictures because, that just is complete innocence, right? In that baby's face. But one of my favorite lines is, my cheeks are chubby because they are full of mommy's kisses. So you think about it, we're kissing babies, right? All the time. And so those cheeks are so chubby. And so, that's what came to me when I wrote it, was that's why a baby's cheeks are so full. So when my guy was little, I said, oh, your cheeks are getting small. I got to put some more kisses in there. So, it became a game for us. So, this page here says, my eyes are bright. And then, because they are filled with stars. And then on the picture itself is really pretty. There are stars. The illustrator put stars out to the side of the eyes. Those are really cute. So when I go to events and I read to children, I make them read with me, right? Because the font is big, the words are easy. And so they can, it's a great first reader. Yeah, so they can follow along. So I make them read the book with me. So this one is about toes. And I love babies' feet. Oh my goodness. It's one of the cutest body parts, isn't it, on a little one? And
absolutely.
So my toes twinkle because there's fairy dust in them. So then we get onto a conversation, the children and I, about how fast they can run. Who's the fastest runner in the room? And did you know that there's fairy dust on your toes? And that's why you run so fast, because kids love all that make-believe stuff. So I've had a lot of fun with this book with kids and getting them to be interactive. And so in each of these books, I do have an I am page in there. So these are the words that I always have the kids repeat with me. And I think this is important to get them started on, I am love, I am joy, I am fun, I am curiosity, I am perfection, because we all have perfection in us, even though we maybe have
So
a
those
lot of
I am statements are powerful, because
yes.
what you repeat to children over and over, what they hear over and over. So if you teach them, I am powerful, I am good looking, I have good feet, I have good
Yeah,
eyesight, all those things. And if they hear that over and over, that's what they're going to be remembering. And I think that's the purpose of the book, is to help them memorize these good things, or things that make them feel good about themselves.
absolutely. Absolutely. Because, what we believe about ourselves is very important. It's super important. Um, and the second book here is, the first book is more for little ones, for having that real sacred reading time, which I think is so precious. And this one it's more for children who are going into the crawling, the sitting, the standing, the walking, like, look at me, look what I can do. So one of my favorite pages in here is, well, I love the colors there, but it's this right here. So what it says there is, mommy thinks I'm sitting here by myself. And then, look at me, I'm on the move. Mommy is going to be so proud of me, right? Because I try to write from the viewpoint of the child, because the child, if a child could talk, that's what they would say. Look at how mommy's going to love what I'm doing, because now I can crawl by myself. Now I can stand by myself. Now I can get things that I want to get, even though we have to, we have to guide them.
So the
on
book
this.
is, so as you say, the book is written from the child's perspective, the way they would be thinking or speaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Like this one with the little girl right here. So she says, I am so strong and I can pull myself up to stand. Because isn't that what a child would think? Mommy's going to think.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. And there's an I am page in that one too. And then the third one that's coming out, this is launching May 18th, and I'm just beyond excited about this one. This goes into like ages 4 to 7, because this is all about the quirkiness of those ages and how, children's hair is kind of crazy. So,
You want to show us some pictures in there?
Yeah. So this is like the first page. Mommy tries to brush my hair, and then, all it does is go, whoops, hold on, let me do this. All it does is go everywhere, because basically that's what happens with hair with a child, right? Their hair is kind of crazy. And it talks about how my toes point out instead of in. I'm starting a new trend, because kids put their shoes on backwards. And then,
well, they put on 2 different shoes, right?
Yes, Carson does that all the time. We'll get out and Charlie go, do you realize he has 2 different shoes on? And I'm like, well, you told him he could dress himself. So, but like this one here about ears, because like sometimes kiddos' ears are really big, right? And they feel self-confident about that. So I can pull my ears out to the side, and it makes me feel like I can fly. So let's put a positive spin on that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I like about the books, is that, it takes the quirkiness that children may have been born with or gifted with, and it turns it into something that can empower them, instead of making them feel ashamed or different.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because, look, you have wide open spaces at this time, right? In a kid's life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, some of my teeth have wide open spaces, and when I smile, I make funny faces. So, let's let's make it exactly what it is, right? And this one I like too, because this one talks about, and I love the colors. Oh my goodness. But this one talks about how I like to do things my own way, and that is definitely okay, because each child.
Oh, don't we all know that?
Yes. I live with one every day. The 7 that's like, I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. All right, dude. And so what I in this book, especially in the third one, I have in the back written about how I use affirmations, why I use affirmations, how I've used them with my children, and I have some samples in there for I am statements, but also for you are statements, and I have samples for adults, so adults can, they can use it for themselves too, and which is very important, because if you're going to teach a child how to do these things, then it's good for you to do for yourself. And who doesn't like a positive word? You can, even a grumpy Gus, we can get them a little bit happy, right? With a positive word. At least we can try.
Oh, absolutely. And I tell you
So
what, these days we can all do with some positivity in our lives. I think even us as adults,
right.
not
But
just
this
the kids.
Right, absolutely. But this also helps a child to reason through things. Like it will help them to learn how to process how they're feeling. If they're having a really bad day, they could go from 1,000, you could bring them back down to ground zero, just talking it through, just helping them to understand what emotions mean, what emotions look like, what emotions feel like. When my face looks like this, this is what I'm feeling, so that they can help to understand. Because a lot of times when a child is having a fit, or when you have a nonverbal child, and maybe they can make sound, but I know for two of my children who were nonverbals, they would scream a lot, and it was out of frustration of not being able to communicate. So, when you have a child who's in a store throwing a fit, laying on the ground, it doesn't mean their behavior is bad. It doesn't mean that the parents are doing a bad job. It just means that the child may be in overwhelm. They're tired, it's hot, they're cold, they need to eat something.
Overstimulated.
Yeah,
And
overstimulated.
that's the funny thing. Very often parents or people in a store, for example, um, may not understand these cues,
Right.
and they don't react in the best way or in the best interest of the child, simply because of a lack of understanding. And that's why conversations like these and books like these are important, not just for the family that's affected, but other people, so they can better understand the challenges parents with special needs children may have.
Absolutely.
You know,
Because even as adults, don't we get like, like we may go, maybe you go to a family gathering, or maybe there's a birthday party, or maybe you're at the store. And even as adults, we have that overstimulation that happens for us. And we're like, I got to get out of the store, and you may go through the store and you feel fine. When you come out, you feel so tired, and it's that overstimulation that happens for adults as well. And so, all of these conversations are really important to have. I was asked the other day on a parenting thing, about what myth would I love to see kind of burst, or whatever you want to call it. And it's that, you can catch from my child autism, or sensory issues, or language problems. And you can't catch something from another child like
no.
that. And so it's funny how when you're out with your child, if your child does have challenges, whatever format they are, people, they look at you strange. You get those looks from people. And it would be good for people to be mindful that, even though it doesn't look like what you think is perfect or what you think is okay, it's still okay for those people, whatever their life is. It's what their life is. So,
And it's important to manage how children feel about other people's. I'm at a loss for the word now, but people sometimes make comments that come from a place of ignorance, and the child needs to understand that that is not a reflection on them, or the differences they may have. It's a reflection of the misunderstanding that the other person has. So
right,
not to take that upon themselves, but to understand the difference, that other people have a lack of understanding. So the problem's not with them. The problem is with the person who has no understanding of the challenge they are facing. And for a
right.
child to understand that difference, I think is huge.
I think it's very huge. Absolutely. And there's back to the point of resiliency. being able to bounce back
Absolutely.
from things that
Yeah.
happen. Yeah,
Mary,
it's a survival mode. Yes, ma'am.
absolutely. Thanks for sharing your books.
Thank
And
you.
so so all of those books are available on Amazon, right?
Yes, and the CD as well.
And the CD. Is it one CD or two CDs? It's one CD.
It's one CD, and then you can buy the songs individually. You can buy the instrumental version of each song individually as well. So
Fantastic. So you can get the book and you can get the accompanying CD, or you can get the individual songs. They're all available separately as well. Mary, thanks so much. It was great having you on the show to talk about your Poohlicious series and how that empowers children. Thanks so much for joining us.
thank you. It's been an honor. Thank you so much for helping me share this. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thanks everyone for watching. So go and have a look at the Poohlicious Children series. It's going to help you empower your children to feel good about themselves, to make themselves feel that they are loved and cared for and special regardless of their challenges. Thanks for
Yes.
watching, everyone.
Thanks.